thing. Like, are we live? People, Deluded, I'm back again. I'm here with my favourite Wolves fan, man. Dave, it's been a minute. What are you saying, bro?
I'm all good, bro. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just thinking about how, you're a good friend of mine, but I'm going to have to hate you this time tomorrow, man. I just my eyes just latched onto the Wolves badge, man. What are you saying?
I'm all good though, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Minor, man. It made sense. Obviously, tomorrow we've got you. I think we've got you in quick succession, really quickly, sandwiched in between something. Yeah, man. And obviously, personally, and I'm gonna pick your brains on it. I don't feel Wolves are getting enough credit necessarily for whatever reason. I think you lot are having a good season. We're not necessarily having one, but you're 2 points off, and there's everyone's in a shout for Europe. First thing, I just want to ask you off the back, man. What's the difference? In fact, first thing, why did Nuno get sacked? That's the first thing. What happened to Nuno?
Well, it's one of them. He left on mutual consent, so people don't know if he was actually sacked or if he walked. But I'd lean towards sacked. But I think he set himself such a high standard, man. He came into the club, won us the league and the championship, 2 7th place finishes in the Premier League, FA Cup semi-final, Europa League quarter-final, and then last season, I don't know what happened. I think we finished 14th in the end in the league, conceding loads of goals. First time in years we were playing West Brom. Before last season, the last time we played them, we lost 5-1 to them. And then for whatever reason, we're always in different divisions. So us as fans, we waited so long for those games, and we flopped in both of them. We were dreadful. So I think it almost just became quite stale in the end. And for whatever reason, the board said probably best we move on and write a new chapter. So obviously he left. I was upset at the time, man, because the fan base were divided. The first time in a long time that fans have started to say, right, I don't want Nuno to manage our team anymore. But I was upset. I thought he'd done enough to deserve another chance, to deserve another transfer window, to build the team that he wanted to, but it wasn't to be. So yeah, he's gone, and obviously now we've got Bruno Lage.
So just to go back on Nuno, what went wrong? Was it just the end of a cycle? Was it his tactics found out? Because you mentioned conceding goals. Once upon a time at Wolves under Nuno, that was one of your best attributes. You're not conceding for anything. You was playing free at the back. You had Doherty, and it looks like you conned Spurs, which I love that you done that with him and whatnot. But yeah, what went wrong really? What would you say specifically?
I don't know. You're right, because even the first 2 seasons we were back in the Prem, nobody wanted to play Wolves, not even the big boys, because we just defended. We made life so difficult. In some games, we were probably quite boring, but on the counter attack, we were so dangerous. We had Doherty on the right wing, Johnny was there. We had Jota and Adama Traore and running forward, and then obviously Jimenez in the box. But I don't know what went wrong after that. I think he relied a lot on the fans, Nuno did. The fans those first 2 seasons in the Prem were ridiculous. They were so good. And just before the lockdown as well, we'd just beaten Espanyol. We'd smashed them in the Europa League, smashed Spurs at their new stadium. And we were 2 points off the top 4. And then it was lockdown. He had no fans, killed our momentum.
Killed it, yeah.
I remember saying before the lockdown, I said, across 2 legs, we were in the Europa League. I said, across 2 legs, I'd be confident of Wolves doing any team in the world at that point, because we were on such high form. And then, the lockdown killed us. We dropped too many points. I think we lost to Sheffield United. We conceded a last-minute goal to Burnley to drop points, and we just missed out on Europe completely. I think Spurs won on the final game of the season to go ahead of us and get European football. And then, for some reason, I think Nuno in his head, we lost to Sevilla in the Europa League. He looked at that game, and we got smashed, to be fair. We missed a penalty in the first half. We couldn't touch the ball. And he said, right, I want to change the system. I want to change how we play. I want to be on more attacking. And then we went in the next season, and he started the exact same formation. The style seemed the same. I think we won the first game against Sheffield United, and obviously they'd done all right the year before. And I was rubbing my hands together thinking, right, this is going to be a good season.
This is going to be a season.
It just went like that, man. He tried to change to a 4-4-2 or a 4 at the back, like a 4-2-3-1, and that didn't work. We didn't have the players for that. But he just chucked that at them halfway through the season. It wasn't like we had a pre-season because of the lockdown.
Yeah, lockdown.
We had Europa League. We had 2 weeks off. Then there was an international break right before the season. I had a week together before the season. So it was just a mess, man. Just a complete mess. And I do feel for him a little bit, but he tried to change from his tried and tested tactic, and it just failed, really.
All right, so obviously skipping forward a bit, what did you make of when he left? You know, obviously, for whatever people say, as you said, he had a terrible season that left with it. He got 2 7th place finishes. Where are you at when he's left now? Where are you at with your club? Are you not necessarily doom and gloom, but are you concerned? Are you kind of, you know, where are you at? Where are you at that moment?
mean, like, say, you know, if you told me, if I look at the situation like 6 months ago when he went, I would have been a little bit concerned because obviously Bruno Lage was the man that was touted like from day one. He was going to be the man that Wolves were going to bring in. And I looked at him and as a manager, to be fair, the only club he managed was Benfica, and he'd smashed it there. Like his record was ridiculous. You searched his name. He was winning league games 10-0 with Benfica. And I thought, flipping it. But then at the same time, I thought, no disrespect to the Portuguese league, if you don't do well with Benfica or Porto, there's probably there's a problem. So, and then you look at his past, he was assistant manager at like Swansea and that, and it's just like, I couldn't get my head around it. Yeah, so he came in, but to be fair, I looked at it, he played 4-4-2 attacking football. I said, it'd be nice to have a difference. You know, had Nuno 5 at the back for so many years. But I think he's come in, the board have said, look, we ain't going to throw money at you yet. You're going to have to work with what you've got. So he sort of switched to this back 5 as well. But I don't know, I feel a lot more comfortable and confident with him with this formation. You know, you've seen our defensive record. We've got the second best defensive record in the league, just behind City. But our concern at the moment is scoring goals. You know, we're like bottom 4, bottom 5. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, but like we're in a good position. It doesn't feel like it. It still feels a bit weird. I think as Wolves fans, we always almost expect the worst. But we got
join the club again, mate. Yeah. Like we're in perfect territory here,
small
mate.
squad as well, same as Arsenal. You know, we've got loads of similarities. But yeah, look at this month. You know, we've got you guys, we've got Spurs at the weekend, we've got Leicester the week after, you again, then West Ham. Mate, all 5 of those games are against teams in and around us chasing European football. I think nobody wants 4th place at the moment. You know, West Ham chucking games away, United chucking games away. So it's a big month for us. And by the end of this month, I think we'll know, you know, say we get maybe 9 or 12 points out of that 15. I'm not going to say it's happening, but if we do, then we've got a real chance of getting European football again. But it's going to be a big month. But he's got us playing some good football. It's good.
I mean, as a neutral looking, I mean, I'm not a neutral, but as someone that looking from a neutral angle at Wolves, as I said at the start, it could play to your advantage, but don't think a lot of noise is being made about you. I look at Brentford won 2-3 games against us and whatnot, and they were the bee's knees. It could be a help, but nothing's being said. Obviously, you mentioned the away fans or would be away fans in my case. That's something we struggle with. You mentioned your defensive record. Now, respectfully, if we can't break down Burnley, we're going to be in problems. So obviously, as an ignorant Arsenal fan, what would you say are the key differences from Nuno's time to obviously Bruno at this moment? And what would you say are your key strengths and weaknesses at this moment from what you've seen?
I think obviously the main strength is defense, like I've said. I don't know, because Nuno always set us up quite defensively. I don't know what went wrong last season. He was just so negative. I think the whole team just played so deep. He only had one plan, really, was pass the ball to Adama Traore and hope for the best. And, you know what his end product was like as well, with no Jimenez because he had that serious injury against you guys. So last season was just a nightmare. Like I said, I think Nuno was a little bit unlucky with that. But Bruno Lage seems to be a lot more positive. The players love him. The fans seem to love him. The press, like the media, like him a lot more. So I think that he's just brought a much more positive attitude. Obviously, we've kicked off the year 3 wins out of 3 in Jan. He's won manager of the month.
Arsenal fans.
Yeah, he's won manager of the month. But I'm hoping, the curse doesn't come in. We lost to Norwich in the FA Cup, so I'm hoping that's it and we get back to winning ways. But main different. I think he just wants to. He's a bit more. No, the defensive line is a lot higher, but for some reason we just seem a lot more solid. He likes to get more players involved, likes to play more positive, attractive football. Like the first 3 games of the season, we some of the best football I'd seen at Molineux, but we lost 1-0 to United, 1-0 to Spurs, and 1-0 to Leicester. We had combined about 60 shots in those games, 60 plus shots.
Finish your dinner.
So I think he changed his approach a little bit. I think Bruno Lage looked at it and thought, yeah, we could play attractive football, but if we're not winning games, I need to sort something out. So he's changed that. I think he's been a bit more conservative with his approach now. But he's just got to find the balance of conceding goals and scoring goals. I don't think I'd mind us conceding 1 or 2 more goals as long as we're scoring 3 or 4 more goals. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those at the moment.
What sort of three at the back is it? Because you kind of mentioned it. Is it two up front? Like, as again, I'm trying to paint a picture for people that don't know anything about Wolves. Like, what sort of system is it? You know, as an Arsenal fan, I could tell you we're very left-hand centric. You know, Tini's going to punch it in behind. You know, we tend to tear to that side, and we can't really, you know, there seems to be an imbalance in our final third and middle third. So, where, you know, painting a picture for Wolves, where would you be at it with it?
Well, the formation that is probably used most is obviously the three centre backs, two wing backs, two central midfielders, two attacking wingers, and a striker. I like that formation the most. I think it creates us a lot more going forward as well. But the last two games, and we've seen it once or twice this season, he's played three centre backs, two wing backs, three in the midfield, and then two up front. But I don't think that suits us. We don't create enough going forward with that formation, if I'm honest. Because obviously then you're relying on your wing backs a lot more, then that might make you a little bit more exposed at the back as well. So I'm hoping, you know, we've had one or two issues with injuries. The team is looking a lot more healthier. By the end of this month, we should have a lot more players back. Pedro Neto, hopefully back as well. So the team's going to look a lot better. But I'm hoping tomorrow he switches to the wingers. But like I say, the last two games he's had it with the three central midfielders. But I just don't think we create enough with that formation.
Who would you say has been your best and worst player of the season so far?
It's tough. I say best Neves probably all round, but there's been loads that have improved loads. I mean, Kilman is one at the young centre back.
Die hard, man.
Yeah,
really, really die hard centre half.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't seem like he's been around that long, but I mean, he's probably been at Wolves 3 or 4 years now. He's like 24, so he's coming towards that level. You know, this time of his career where he sort of needs to know where he wants to be. There were talks that he was going to go off to the Championship last season, and at the time I thought, yeah, okay, because I don't think he's the type of level of player that we need. But man, he's proved me wrong. He's been unbelievable this year. Connor Cody looks way better this year than what he did. Sace looks better than he did as well. But I think Neves and Matinho have been unbelievable. Matinho, for someone who's like 36, he doesn't look like he's slowing down.
Very
he's just
the individual,
top of the game, yeah. But Neves has improved a lot. Worst player is probably difficult to pinpoint, to be fair.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think. Maybe Trincao, me being a little bit harsh, but Trincao, he came in on loan from Barca. Again, I was rubbing my hands together. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking, yeah, mate, this kid coming from Braga, gone to Barca. I thought, you know, if Barca are signing him, he's got to be half decent. And I think it's one of them where, see, we've only got him on loan for a season. We've got an option to buy of about 20, 25 million. He hasn't done enough for us to activate that. But at the same time, he's one of them players that you could tell a player's there, but he might need a year or two to adapt to English football.
Adapt and adjust, yeah.
So it's one of them. I'd be gutted if we let him go because I think he could go on to bigger and better things. But at the same time, can you convince the fans to spend, you know, will the fans be happy if you spend 25 million quid on him?
Where you at with Podence as well, man? Because I look at it, you know, you've got tricky little players. I'm quite scared of the set pieces because you've got people that can take fantastic set dead ball scenarios, and you've got people, whether it's Sice or whoever, who could score. I don't like the fact that I know your fans are going to be buzzing, and I just feel one thing you've got over us is our average age is about 23, 24. I'm pretty sure you lot kind of trump us in experience, and we're at that point in the season where you need experience. And it's like with Arsenal, we can only play one way. I kind of want to ask you, where does your source, what sort of goals do you typically score? Because as an Arsenal fan, we have to walk it in. You're not going to see too many headers. I know statistically we're all right from set pieces, but we like to score that perfect goal, typically starting from the left-hand side. What sort of goals do you lot tend to find yourself scoring?
I'm trying to think now. I mean, we haven't scored that many, so it shouldn't be a difficult question for me to answer. But to be fair, you know, our most recent league game against Brentford, we were really, really poor. But the first time, it happened twice, obviously, when we got the ball on the deck and actually tried to play some nice passing football. We scored 2 goals from outside the area. I think it's just a lot of it starts on the wings. And obviously, I think they like to, you know, start wide and almost work their way in field like that. But it happens a lot. I think a lot of it comes from the wing backs and the wingers. I think probably our most recent 4 or 5 goals have come from the wing backs. And not just one side in particular. I'd say Podence, who you mentioned just now, he's probably had his most consistent season. He was on and off a lot last season. He was injured a lot for Wolves last season. But this year he's been really consistent. Wasn't great at the weekend. But to be fair, last 2 games, they've tried to play him up front, him and Fabio Silva.
Really
so we've got him as a little sort of 5'6", 7", he's probably smaller than that, 5'4" winger playing up front with Fabio Silva, who's still so raw and inexperienced.
Where you at with him as well? Because Tino's kind of asked that. It's the perfect time to ask you. Where
sorry, yeah.
He's an FM Wonder kid.
Yeah, because of FM, mate, I was buzzing when we signed him. And I still back him, but there are a lot of, especially I would say, pinpointed more on the older generation that have looked at him thinking, why on earth have we paid 35 million quid for him? But they can't understand, though. Sometimes now you got to pay for potential, haven't you?
Potential, yeah.
He's improved, but I think there's still a long way to go. And I hope we don't give up on him too soon. The chairman loves him. I don't know. I'm sure our chairman plays FM because he signed some wonder kids and he loves it. He called him a wonder kid in an interview as well. But yeah, I just hope he has more time. He was going to go out on loan in January, and I think he stepped it up a lot in training. So Bruno's started in the last 2 games. I think as a 2, it doesn't work, but as a 3 with 2 wingers either side of him, like we played against Sheffield United. He had Podence and Adama either side of him. So the defence were occupied by them, and he got on the ball, and he was brilliant on the ball. So I think he's one of them players. Give him a chance, let him get a couple of goals, and he could find his feet.
You mentioned it, Adama. Like, what's the the fallout from him leaving? Was you sad to see him go? Do you think you've it is what it is? What? Because there was a couple of years ago, I swear you lot were quoted as he's up for sale for 70-odd million when he was in City. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, when we got first promoted, we signed him. I think he had like a release clause at Middlesbrough, £18 million, which at the time, for us, a new club getting promoted, that was quite a bit of money. And he wasn't great that first season. If Borough came back and said, "Can we have him back for 18 million quid?" I probably would have said yes. But the second season, he was unreal. Europa League football, played more minutes. Him and Jimenez, I think, had the most goal combinations. Together they were ridiculous. And that's when they were talking about the 70 million pounds and so on.
Crazy figures.
That. Exactly. And then last season without Jimenez, he was dreadful again. Really struggled to get going. I don't think. Trying to think if he scored a goal last season. I'm not sure if he did in the league. And then this season, they were talking about giving him a new contract because he only had 2 years left in the summer. But he wanted to be the highest earner. He wanted to be on over 100 grand a week. To pay somebody that amount of money, he's got to be getting at least double figures.
You got to put up crazy numbers to justify it. Simple as that.
Yeah, exactly, man. So he struggled to start, in the team, and Bruno's been using him as a squad player, as an impact player. But sometimes with him, I think you need to give him at least 25 minutes, 30 minutes to get into the game.
Put on his baby oil.
Yeah, exactly. And then it comes to January, 18 months left on his deal, and he still hasn't signed a deal. And Spurs are really heavily linked. And in the end, I think he knew in the back of his mind, Barca comes calling his old club, his boyhood club. And we've got a decent deal with them, to be fair. Obviously, it's on loan, but they've got an option to buy a 30 million, which it sounds like they're going to trigger, which is way more than what was quoted. I think Wolves were holding out for just 20, 25 million quid. So 30 million is all right for a player in the summer that would have 12 months left on his deal. So, yeah, he's a good player. And he's got an assist already on his debut.
He had a good debut for Barca, man, inspired.
The thing is, it was typical. He's done nothing all season. In January, comes off the bench and scores against Southampton. His last game against Brentford, he scored, and he was like this far offside. He scored 2 goals in 2 weeks, and he hadn't scored all season before that.
Typical stuff. And obviously, I got asked about someone you sold to the scum up the road. What happened to Doherty, man? Because he looked like one of the best fullbacks potentially in the league. I don't know if it's systems. I don't know what it is. It just looks like you lot have committed fraud. I'll be honest, that you completely robbed them.
It's mad, isn't it? I think we got. Well, at the time when it was linked, I thought, nah, no way. I don't think because Nuno was obviously still manager. I thought, no way. And I think it was 12, 13 million. I thought at the time it was a good price. That was, but the club made. We got the years of service. We had him from back like 2010. I think we signed him for under 100k. Yeah. So just mad business, obviously overall. I don't know what happened. Who was their manager at the time? Was it Poch or?
He's had Jose. He's had
Mourinho. It was
because he's had Nuno.
It was Mourinho because Doc had changed to Mendes as his agent as well. So the whole thing. So people were unhappy with it, and I thought the amount of favors that George Mendes has given us, it's no surprise that he's doing one for somebody else now. But yeah, he was dreadful. I thought he might have kicked on when Nuno had gone there at the start of this season, but still nothing. They tried to flog him back to us in January, and we said no.
What do you make of the Portuguese revolution at your club? You kind of just touched on it, and it would be silly not to. It's almost like you've had I think it's an example of how you can use agents, right? I know Arsenal with Willian, etc., it's the wrong reasons, but when you have a club that wants to bring in good players, has a clear mandate, and obviously people don't overstep their boundaries, it is working. Like, if I'm honest, respectfully to Wolves, you've signed a lot of players that at times you'd think you're punching, which is testament to you lot. So where are you at with the Portuguese dealings and influx? Because it's serving you right at this moment.
Yeah. It's one of them, man. I think it's had more good things than bad. I mean, we wouldn't have had the players, we wouldn't be where we are today without the whole Mendes thing. I don't think, when we were in the Championship and managed to sign Neves, Jota on loan at the time, Willy Bolly. The Neves one was ridiculous because he was being chased by some of the best clubs in Europe, and then he comes to the Championship. Yeah, that's what I mean. So nobody could believe that, but I think every Wolves fan knew. We paid 15 million for Neves. I thought we all thought, right, we'll get promoted, maybe get a season in the Prem, but then he'll be off. And the fact that 4 or 5 years later he's still here is mad. I think it frustrates fans a little bit because it's almost that we're very reliant on Jorge Mendes for our business.
That can be dangerous,
yeah. So every summer, we look at it and it's almost as if we do nothing up until the last 2 weeks when Mendes is like, right, I need to get rid of him, I need to move him, and then Wolves are the place.
What can you do for me?
Yeah, I think it restricts our business a little bit because I think we've missed out on some good players because of that. But you know what? We wouldn't be where we are. The club make out that they don't rely on him, but they definitely do. Like when we had Helder Costa back in the day, smashed it in the Championship for us, and Jeff Shee, the chairman, was asked about it, and he says, like, if Jorge Mendes came and had an offer for Helder Costa, what would you do? And he said, well, George is my friend, but this is my football club, so I make the final decision. So I think it's one of them, but it's done more good than bad. Look, we're in a way better position than we would be without him, I think.
What do you make of Ruben Neves, man? Because obviously he's contracted until 2023. You look at him, Telemans, Basuma, Douglas Luiz over at Villa. Their names are going to continuously get linked with clubs. Now, you probably could tie him down. I know a couple of months ago, as an Arsenal fan, I saw the language that Bruno said. It kind of made out that, we have to match his ambitions. Where are you at with that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's a big, probably 6 months now for us and Ruben Neves, because I think we've got to either get European football this summer, this season, and time down in the summer, or say to him, look, we'll give you a contract. We're going to spend 150 million or whatever to improve this squad. I think, like you said, Bruno's right. We have to match Neves' ambitions. He's the number one player. He's still only 24, but already got like 4 years experience in the Premier League, already played Europa League football.
Mature beyond his years, 100%.
Yeah, man. And he's stepped it up massively this year. And I'm just hoping that he can start adding a few more goals to his game and so on. But I mean, he's not a goal scorer, but I hope he can. I remember at the start of the season when you lot were linked with him, there were people comparing it to the whole Xhaka situation. And when you looked at their numbers and their percentiles, mate, they were so similar. But I bet now, if you looked at it,
better than him.
Like, yeah, that's what I mean.
To get the numbers, he's better than him. Like, there's less of the mistakes.
We've had a half season now with more positive football. I bet Neves' numbers are way higher and much better now. But I saw 40 million. Maybe, with the contract situation, it might be that. But I would be wanting a lot more money for Neves if he was ever sold.
So what's the fee? It comes summer. He's got 18 months. It's not that he won't sign a new deal or that he will. You haven't heard anything. It's mid-August. What's the figure? That's put on the table. Farewell.
Yeah. I'd want at least 60, I think.
Flipping over 18 months.
Well,
I'd have to go and ask Leicester about Telemans and Douglas Luiz then.
18 months, I think you're right. It changes the situation slightly, but I'd be gutted to see him leave for less than 40 million, if I'm honest. I'd be gutted about that.
There's a question that I think you kind of covered, but I don't want someone to think I'm leaving them hanging. I think it was thoughts on your back line. I don't think that's about Arsenal's, but yeah, that's about you.
No, it's been good, man. It's been, if somebody told me this time last year, right, next season, you're going to have this as your back three, I think every Wolves fans would be very disappointed, because we've been talking for the last 12 months about improving our defenders, close to signing Sven Botman last summer.
That'd be a signing.
With Boubacar Kamara, I think, has been linked with like United and stuff as well. Linked with Saleta Sarr from Marseille. So we were linked with some decent centre halves, and just nothing came to fruition. So in the end, we've been stuck with Saïs, who's obviously, he's been at the club probably 5 or 6 years now as well. Cody, and Kilman. But all three of them, man, have been superb. They've been really, really good. Even Aït-Nouri, left wing back, has stepped it up. Semedo stepped it up massively. He got a lot of stick last season. But all of them, and Sarr in goal as well. Obviously, we signed him in the summer, and all I see now is Sarr versus Ramsdale, save percentage and all this stuff, you know. But
every
both
week on
great
Twitter.
signings for both clubs, I think. Yeah.
Where did you find him from? Because to me, it's like he came out of the blue, really. How much did he
Sarr, I think we signed him
man.
for like 7 mil.
See,
But the thing that worried everyone about him was because obviously we got rid of Patricio, who's been Portugal's number one for, you know, God knows how long. We saw he was linked from day one. He was playing for Olympiacos in Greece, but he was never, well, he couldn't break into the Portugal team. So everyone's thinking, right, we're going from Portugal's number one to somebody that can't even break into the team. What's going on? But mate, he's been a lot more comfortable than Patricio. I think he just suits the Premier League because Patricio was always just stuck on his line. He wouldn't come out.
Yeah,
he was a proper goalkeeper, but Sarr is much more comfortable with his feet, a bit more of a sweeper keeper. He'll just take anyone out in his way. Like he did it with Ivan Toney, kept trying to block him, like stand in front of him, and Sarr just got the ball and ran into him. Toney went flying. But no, he's ruthless. He's a good goalkeeper, though. Good signing.
So what would you say are the targets for? What were the targets at the beginning of the season? Now, obviously, a bit like Arsenal, targets might not have necessarily been that high, but similar to us, you know, a mixture of finding your form at some point sees you with an opportunity to have a positive season. So what were the targets for Wolves at the start of this season? And as a Wolves fan, or just speaking for yourself, you know, it's basically February. Well, it is February. It's just gone Jan, you know, 17 or so games left. What are you lot trying to achieve? What would you hope to achieve? Best case scenario, stopgap as well. Like, all right, cool. It's not a fairy tale. That's a respectable sort of season.
Yeah, I think obviously last season under Nuno, we finished 14th in the end, which was really disappointing. I think we said that, you know, well, last season we classed as a transitional season with the signings of Silva, signings of Semedo. Nuno said he wanted to change the system. And obviously it went pear-shaped. Brought in another manager and they're saying it's another transitional season again. So I just wanted an improvement. At the start of the season, I said, right, if we can get mid-table, we build on that, see what Bruno Lage is about, that's sound. But the fact now that we're in this position in 8th place with I don't know how far we are behind the top 4, but 2 games or 3 games in hand of West Ham. If we win all of those, we go ahead of them. 2 games in hand of United. If we win them, we go ahead of them. You know, all of a sudden, we're in the European picture. But like you said earlier, no one's really talking about Wolves too much. And I like that because it doesn't really put us in the limelight that much. You know, we can just do our own things, see not too much pressure on the players, I don't think. So we're in a good position. I don't want to just say now, yes, we're going to get 5th or 6th place because I think there's loads of teams. There's yourselves, there's Spurs, there's United, West Ham. I think Leicester could still sneak in there, but they're dropping too many points. So there's plenty of teams still in the race for it, but I'm happy for us to be sort of, you know, below the radar and just doing our own thing. Who knows, man? I'd love it. Even at Europa Conference, I think I'd take at this point, but just if we can get back into European football, that'd be huge for the club.
And obviously, like, what have you made? First thing, what do you expect of Arsenal from these 2 games? And as a neutral, it's always interesting. What have you just made of Arsenal from August to now, man? Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoke to obviously a few Arsenal fans on previews and that, and your fan base is crazy. I don't know a fan base like it.
Crazy.
It's just so divided. You know, there's some people that I think like yourself that are pretty level-headed. There's some people that are just screaming, want the board and want Arteta out. And, you know, I can never work out. But I always say it's quite hard for me to say because Arsenal for the last 20, 30, 40 years have always sort of been at the top. You know what I mean? And for the last few years, you've sort of slowed down. Whereas for me as a Wolves fan, when I started to get really into football, we were sort of championship and even in League One, you know what I mean? So I've sort of just seen the club do that.
Seen a trajectory,
so that's why I always think I'm quite a positive fan. You know, I always try and look at the positive side of things. So it's always hard for me to comment too much on Arsenal because you guys have been used to the good times and this is where it's getting a bit sticky in it. So I think like looking in now, I think you guys definitely could have done with a proper striker in January, especially with Aubameyang going. Somebody said, do you think can Arsenal get top 4? And I think with the forward situation, probably not. You needed a proper number 9, but you got a good core, good squad of players there. But I think if Arteta completely misses out on Europe again, I think he might be in a little bit of trouble.
He should be in a little bit of trouble. Yeah. I mean, top 6 should probably be the minimum. Obviously, if you're Wolves manager Thursday at the Molineux, where do you hit Arsenal? What weak points do you see? What strengths do you potentially focus on? How simply do you try and win the game, really?
So
because I think first and second balls are crucial. Set pieces are crucial. Putting away chances, both teams can't score.
Yeah, I think the set pieces that we've done predominantly quite well from set pieces. I think up until
so I'm scared.
Up until 3 weeks ago, we hadn't conceded from a set piece, but then Ward-Prowse scored that ridiculous free kick. If you're going to class that as a goal, we conceded a crossed free kick from Brentford. They scored from, and then we conceded a set piece against Norwich. So I don't know. At the moment, we look a bit fragile on those. Other than that, we've just been so solid, and with our defensive record, it's not like I can pinpoint a weak area for Wolves. It is genuinely just who's going to take their chances on the night, I think, and.
Right.
I'm hoping Jimenez turns up under the lights at Molineux, man. If our crowd gets going, is special at Molineux. I think we played you guys on a Wednesday night a few years ago when we beat you 3-1.
Is that where David Luiz was sent off?
No. I think that was in lockdown. I still can't get.
To be fair, we've had a couple of L's with you lot recently, but yeah, man.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I think where it's going to be a win and loss for us is down the wide areas. The Aït-Nouri and Semedo as the wing backs, and I'd say Podence and Trincao probably as the wingers. See what they can do. They've got to produce the goods and see what we can do. But it's whoever takes their chances at the end of the day.
So if you had to gamble on what the starting 11 and formation would be, where would you go with?
Well, I would hope it'll be the two in the middle. So I'd say probably Sarr in goal. Kilman, Cody, and Sace across the back three. Aït-Nouri and Semedo as the wing backs. Neves and Moutinho in the middle. Podence and Trincao on the wings, and then Jimenez up top. But I think he might go three in the middle again, and that would mean probably dropping Trincao for Dendoncker. But a lot of fans aren't into the Dendoncker thing at the moment.
See, for me, I think we have to play 3 players. I think Smith Rowe can press, but I think if we're going to have a chance against you lot, because you lot are positive, you've got street smart on us. Lacazette has to play through the middle. Odegaard has to be behind him. We need probably Saka and Martinelli because we need to press. And when Lacazette drops, we need that option because you're playing a back 3. I don't know for pace how slow or fast Cody and Kilman is, but you probably back yourself against one individual up there. And again, what we need not do is encourage you lot to get further up the field because I kind of am scared when we play against a back 3, completely different. But I remember we went away to Brighton, and don't get twisted, we weren't at it from the start, but we were just done tactically. And I just think people don't really respect experience. And I think you've got a real street smart team that can, as much as it's about managers, players have to work things out themselves on the football field. And if you're a swimmer, you'd rather people that have swum in strong currents than people who haven't, innit? And I think that's where the game's won and lost for me. So if I had to pick our lineup, we do a 4-2-3-1. I don't know for Tomiyasu. Arteta kind of kept his cards close to his chest, but if it could be Tomiyasu, Tierney, the 2 centre-halves in Ben White and Gabriel, Ramsdale in goal, Xhaka, Partey, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, and then you'd probably go Lacazette through the middle. I don't think we have much off the bench. I feel, considering we didn't do the business in the summer, I think too many variables kind of have to go right for us in these last couple of games. Like, I don't think, obviously people can come off the bench and make themselves heroes, but I don't really feel we have enough variety, and we're kind of, it is where it is with us, really and truly. So I just really am scared of the first and second balls away at you lot. I think if Adama was there, he's the sort of guy to score. I guess my last question would be to you, what do you expect from the 2 games against us, home and away? And what would your prediction be? Because I'm just going to go for the classic 1-0 to Arsenal, man. I think it's going to be nerve-wracking. I don't necessarily believe it, but positivity in the air, my friend, today.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be close games. They've always been close games since Wolves come back into the Premier League. I think, to be fair, I'm surprised. I think Wolves are 1-3. We've drawn 2, maybe, and
you're definitely a team that gives me a bit of nerves. You're definitely at you lot's place, man.
Yeah, so I would probably. I'm always, like I said, I'm always positive. I'm backing us to win 2-1, but if it's a draw, 1 goal either way, I think it's going to be very tight. I think both teams will score. I think I read a stat earlier. You lot haven't failed to score against us for years. So, I back you to score
2
a goal.
goals from open play between our 2 strikers, and you never know, man. Things can happen in life, man. I don't know.
They'll turn up tomorrow, I can guarantee it. Yeah.
Maybe we need a left back or something to do something. I don't know.
Yeah. But I think, they're both games going to be tight. Probably a draw, or maybe you guys nick it at the Emirates. But I think then sort of this game is going to give us an indication on how the next game might go. But I think we got 2 games in between the matches, and I think you guys, I don't know if you guys have got 2 games or just one game.
We're out of the FA Cup, so there's no excuses. We've got one. Yeah. We've had the Dubai break. We know, again, you look at our fixture calendar. I don't think there is any games you can look at definitely where we're failing to win and say we're going to win. We've got, for me anyways, as an Arsenal fan, I don't want to play you lot, don't want to play Brighton, don't want to play Crystal Palace, don't want to play Southampton. We've got you lot. We've got you lot, really and truly. And that's without talking about going to the Bridge, going to White Hart Lane. Still got to play Liverpool. Still got to play United. So, which are 6-pointers. Even with you lot now, they're all 6-pointers, maybe even 12-pointers because of taking points. Obviously, what content have you got to come out? I mean, everybody knows that, you do this Twitch stuff. You do Talking Wolves. All the links are there. And when this is on YouTube, the links will be there. But let them know where they can find you, my friend.
Yeah, so Talking Walls on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We do obviously similar sort of thing to this, previews, match reactions, get fans to come on as well, give their thoughts as well. We've got our own podcast as well. And then obviously my own stuff on Twitter as well, which is Dave as a party.
Again, people, and if you give me a second, you should be able to see on the screen, you've got his Twitter account. Let's get that one. There. Oh, my mouse is don't do this. I feel like I'm under pressure. That's one. Obviously, you heard the man talking Wolves business. That's 2. And then obviously, the Twitch, the videos I like to watch, the FM content, etc., etc.
Yes.
So yeah, man, it is what it is. And then he does a bunch of other stuff. What content have you got to come?
Trying to think. FM stuff at the moment, I'm waiting a little bit to jump on a new project. But obviously the Talking Wolves stuff, this month is busy. Obviously, we got loads of games coming up. So loads of match previews, loads of match reviews, going to the Emirates, obviously, in a couple of weeks as well, which is going to be good. So, yeah, loads of wall stuff coming up.
So, and again, and I probably can guess that there's going to be some, previews on your channel and whatnot between now and tomorrow.
Yeah. So I got match preview coming up with my predicted lineup and stuff like that on there as well. And then obviously tomorrow night I'll have my match reaction, probably from my car outside the ground, and then the fans' reaction, where the fans send their thoughts in as well.
Exactly. So people, make sure you're following Dave on all the socials. Make sure you're following Talking Wolves. Get your Wolves fix, and may the best team win, man. I appreciate you for doing this quickly with me after work as well, Dave, man. So yeah, enjoy what's left, man, as always. No, man, I appreciate that. Anytime you need me on your channel, just shout me, bro. Again, I appreciate that. People appreciate you lot for listening, and we're out now, man. Really, take care, people. Enjoy what's left of your evening. I'm going to be doing the Aston Villa versus Leeds preview. Well, I meant to say preview. Watch along at 7:30. So, yeah, join me. That's on YouTube. But, yeah, apart from that, we're out, people, man. You lot stay blessed. Take care. Safe.
Always just that active defending. I think it's like